Welcome to the Tap into Money World Summit Trailblazers Trek. Today you get the privilege of getting a rare sneak peek at how 5 experts in the field of money and business created a prosperous business that changes lives and how they had to change to make that happen. So like I said, today's is just a sneak peek, and be sure to join us again for the in-depth interviews with each of these trailblazers, plus 10 more, when the Tap into Money World Summit Intensive goes live on May 1st. So look for the link below this video to get signed up. Oops, hold on. Okay. You get the privilege of getting a rare sneak peek at how. Could you hear that? 5 experts in the field of money and business created a business that changes lives and how they change to make it.
Echo.
Like I said, today. Okay, I'm going to fix this. And be sure to join us again for the in-depth interviews with each of these trailblazers.
Oh, you're watching your own YouTube video, Natalie.
I know. I'm watching my own YouTube. I'm trying to turn it off.
You're selling tickets to your own show.
Okay.
It's nothing like that kind of self-confidence.
Okay, that's the good part. That's the good part. The thing is, in order to see the chat, I have to have it back up, but I can figure that out later. Okay. I love it. Technology. Okay. So so look for the link below to get signed up for the intensive and how to grab all the treasures before this adventure by investing in the treasure chest at $200 off the regular price before the summit starts on May 1st. So we're practically giving the treasure chest away at just $97 because here's the bounty you get when you make this smart investment. You get the full video and audio of each full expert interview. That means you can listen again to increase your own expertise with business and money while doing something like exercising or driving. You get the pot of gold, which is my cliff notes from each interview. You get 7 bonus 3 minutes to brilliance audios, which are quick, easy, and effective tapping audios to help you reveal your innate brilliance. And you get all of Natalie's gold nuggets from the summit to listen to or read. So the minute the summit begins on May 1st, the price of the treasure chest goes up to $197. So make the smart choice and get it at a mere $97 today. Okay, I am now ready to introduce these magnificent women who have joined us excuse me, for this Trailblazers Trek. So first, on the left, is Dena Proctor. And I'm going to find Dena's introduction here. Okay, so Dena Proctor is a life and business coach and best-selling author of the book Madly Chasing Peace, How I Went from Hell to Happy in 9 Minutes a Day, highly recommended. Heavily supported by Jack Canfield, Dena's 3x3 meditation method is helping thousands to transform their personal and professional lives all over the world. Welcome, Dena.
And thank you, Natalie. It's so great to share this space with all of you ladies. So excited about it.
And next in line we have Jo Barnes, a mother, a sun chaser, an entrepreneur, and an online marketing addict. In the last 4 years, Jo and her family have lived in Europe, Australia, and Southeast Asia. They have also traveled extensively chasing the sun across the globe. This is all made possible because Jo runs her entire business online. Jo's mission is to show people how to increase their passive, disposable income and achieve business and life freedom. Jo believes that living an internet lifestyle is 100% possible for everyone and anyone who wants it. And the good news is you can do it ethically and with integrity and without hard selling. That's the beauty of today's social media marketing world we live in. Welcome, Jo.
Hello, lovely to be here. Hello, lovely ladies, and hello, lovely audience.
That is so interesting. You said all of that, but I saw you frozen. So hopefully you will be unfrozen. And next, Raquel Spencer. Raquel is an internationally acclaimed and multi-dimensional energy and cellular light specialist, facilitator, and intuitive. Raquel has been described as a multi-dimensional computer, an energetic electrician, and a master healer of cellular light. Raquel helps us navigate through and understand our own multidimensional worlds of wisdom and power. Simply stated, Raquel's work prepares the physical and energetic bodies of the upcoming shifts in consciousness by accessing her ancient skills from other lifetimes. Welcome, Raquel.
Hello, everyone. It's great to be here, to be a part of this panel. And Natalie, thank you for bringing us all together in this way.
You're welcome. My delight and pleasure. And next we have Val Bullerman, a business coach that walks her talk. When she became a coach, Val struggled for a consistent flow of clients and did not charge her worth. By implementing the right strategies and mindsets, Val has created a wildly successful business and life she loves, traveling the world, coaching and speaking. She's earned 6 figures in 1 year, a month, and even in 1 day. Val's authentic passion to create confident and successful entrepreneurs shines through and drives her to lead a quality experience for her clients, empowering them to make fabulous money and do what they love. She loves to share her proven strategies, tools, and mindsets to create a leap in your life and business. Welcome, Val.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm so honored to be here among so many beautiful, fabulous spirits. It's amazing. So thank you, Natalie. Yay.
You're welcome. I'm excited. So we're going to begin by posing one question, the same question to each of our 4 experts. So we'll start with Dena, who's currently muted. And so the question is, how did you overcome the biggest personal obstacle in the way of your success, and what was that obstacle?
Okay, such a great question, and I've thought about it a little bit because I'm almost like an accidental entrepreneur. You know, 4 or 5 years ago, if you would have told me I'm doing what I'm doing now, I would have told you that you were crazy. You know, it wasn't on my sights to be an entrepreneur, to share my story of overcoming suicidal depression and addiction with the world, and here I am doing it. So the biggest obstacle that I overcame was that when I first started this business, I felt like I was such a newbie, so green, and everybody around me had all this expertise, but I was not able to see what I should be doing and how to put a book together and how to start a business and how to start coaching. So I struggled with my own certainty and listening to my own inner wisdom in building that business. I'll give you an example. There was a gentleman I met at a seminar, and he was like a very well-respected author. He had sold, you know, thousands of books, and he really believed in me and my work. And he asked me, "Hey, what's the title that you're going to title your book again? Can you tell me what that is?" And I told him, "Madly Chasing Peace: How I Went from Hell to Happy in 9 Minutes a Day." And he said, "Oh my gosh, it's way too negative. There's no solution in it. It's way too long." Like, he gave me all of these. He was loving about it, you know, it was kind of this helpful criticism, but I felt like, oh, I can't listen to my inner voice, I need to listen to what these experts are saying. Luckily for me, I had enough of, you know, kind of rebuilding my life using meditation that I sat with that, and I said, no, that feels like the right thing, so I put his wisdom to the side. A year later, I saw him again, and he said, "Oh, how's the book going and everything?" And he said, "Share the title with me again." And I said it was the exact same one, Madly Chasing Peace, right? And he said, "It's brilliant. I love it. It couldn't be better than that. Like, it's so descriptive and it's perfect." And I thought, like, how can the exact same person have a different opinion a year later? He obviously didn't remember that from before. But it was just such a lesson for me to trust my inner wisdom. No matter if somebody has more money than me, more experience than me, has sold a lot more books than me, my inner wisdom will always trump that. So that was kind of my biggest, that was one that I really struggled with, and I overcame it by trusting that inner voice.
Thank you, Dena. That's such a great story. And so, Joe, for you, how did you overcome the biggest personal obstacle in the way of your success, and what was it?
Yeah, probably not too far away from what Dena was saying, and I think it's something that a lot of us feel, and that really is just that self-doubt, just constant self-doubt, and always looking out of what's going on around you as opposed to looking inside at what you have to offer. You're constantly looking at what other people are doing and comparing yourself to them. And I think really I spent a long time doing that, you know, constantly thinking I should be like this person, or I should be like that person, or I should be doing more of what that person is. And in fact, you know, my business, in the kind of internet marketing space is quite a salesy business. It's quite male dominated, and it's really kind of dominated with lots of heavy sales pitches and all that kind of stuff. And for a long time I felt that that's what I should be doing. That's how I should be doing my business. And I couldn't understand why I was failing, you know, so greatly when I was trying to do what these guys around me were doing, as opposed to doing what I felt really comfortable with, you know. And every time I kind of went out there and dipped my toe into doing what I felt comfortable with, my personality, which was less aggressive and less salesy and less hypey and much more natural and authentic, then obviously I started to get the results that backed up my theory that actually I should just be me, and I should just go out and be me, because actually the more I was me, then the better results I was going to get. And that comes down to, I think, people creating a great rapport with you and seeing that you're authentic and seeing that you're genuine, because I think people can see a mile off when you're you know, not being you and you're desperately trying to be somebody else. But it's all about that self-doubt, you know, and you look outside of you at what everybody else is doing, believing that they're getting the results that you want, when actually 9 times out of 10 a lot of them aren't. But that's another story altogether. But you think other people are getting the results that you want, and you think you should be doing what they're doing. And so when I finally overcame that kind of self-doubt in myself and just said, you know what, I am me. In fact, I tell you what, a very quick story. You know Marie Forleo? She was
Sure.
doing an interview with the lovely lady that does the Crazy Sexy Cancer Diet books. What's her name?
Chris Carr.
Absolutely. Chris Carr, that's it. She was doing an interview with Chris Carr, and she asked Chris Carr what was a defining moment in her life, in her career. And Chris Carr turned around and said, it was the day I found my voice. And you know what? It just hit me like a ton of bricks, that comment. I just thought, oh my gosh, that's what it is about. It's about finding your own voice, about, you know, finding out who you are and believing that people are actually going to like you. People are actually, that you have something valuable to say, that you have something valuable to give. And I think once you kind of realize that you have something amazing to give to the world, you yourself have the experience and the message and everything inside your own experiences in life to go out and give to the world, that's when your life really changes. And that's what happened for me.
I love it. I love it. It's beautiful. Okay, Raquel, how did you overcome the biggest personal obstacle in the way of your success, and what was that obstacle?
Well, it's interesting because as I listened to the 2 previous women, it's exactly the same. It's all about really being able to go in and discern. It's all about discernment for me. And that discernment is, am I following my authentic self? And am I listening to my higher guidance and following that in my work? Or am I trying to fit the mold of everyone else and listening to everyone else's opinion of how I should do my work or how I should do my business? So for me, it was really about dropping down into the heart and really going, okay, am I in fear because I don't think I'm good enough, or am I in fear because it's really not the right thing to be doing? And being able to go in enough into your inner knowing, into connecting in with your higher self, and really discerning, is this, am I not moving forward, am I not being successful because I'm not doing the right thing and I need to adjust because I'm trying to fit someone else's idea or mold? Or is it, I'm afraid to step into my authentic self and it's truly an inner fear that I need to work through? So that level of discernment, of really getting deep into the heart, getting deep into the core of why you may be feeling like you're blocked, really getting very clear, is it because of my personality, and my personality is afraid to be seen or to move forward, or is it really because, gosh, that's not the right path. I'm not supposed to follow what everybody else is doing. I'm supposed to come from the authenticity of who I am and move in that direction. And so for me, that was really very, very key in how I moved forward and into my business, because once you can discern in your own knowingness, in your own heart, and I always talk about dropping into the heart and asking the question, is it my personality because I'm kind of scared and this is new, but dang, Spirit's saying go for it? Or is it, no, I'm trying to do what everybody else is doing and follow, you know, their steps or their way of thinking, and that's not authentic for me. And so when I drop in and I come into my authentic self, that's when everything moves. And that's what I think is really important for everybody to be able to distinguish in their own knowing.
Well, and that's, hopefully you're going to talk about that when you get your teaching time, because I think the whole question of how do you distinguish between, is this just my personality saying, you know, I'm not good enough, or is this really the wrong thing for me to be doing? That could take a lifetime for somebody to develop that level of discernment, right?
Not necessarily. There's tips and tricks, and you know, if you can really get into your own heart, it's not that difficult.
Okay.
It's a misconception that it's difficult. It's really not. You just need to understand the distinctions, and I hope I can help with that.
All right, I do too. Okay, Val, you ready to answer the question? Val Bullerman, how did you overcome the biggest personal obstacle in the way of your success, and what was it?
Well, these ladies have covered all of this so beautifully. Like, I just commend all of you for being so willing and vulnerable. And I think we all share common threads in our stories, how they all weave together. It's so fascinating to me. I love listening to stories, and I hope everyone is enjoying it as much as I am, because I'm having a great time. So for me, it was the compare, right? It was always, as a new coach, I didn't have enough experience. When I became a more experienced coach, it was, well, do I need to do what everybody else is doing because that's how they do business? You know, where am I going to embrace how I want to do business, how I want to show up in the world? What's the message that I have to give? And really, so letting go, right? Because we only, and I love this saying, it isn't my saying, I don't know who said it, but we only compare to despair. We never compare our best to someone else's best. We always compare our not such good feelings to someone else's way good feelings. And so really for us to stop for a moment, check in and say, what is it that I want? How do I want to show up? And when we're able to start distinguishing, this feels really good. I use the word yummy, right? It's really yummy to me, and I want to do more of it. Then I know that I'm on the right path, and I know that I've allowed myself to express myself in the way that really feels authentic to me. And I think the more we can be, and I'll talk a little bit more about this, but vulnerable and, you know, allow people to see sometimes our mess, because, you know, life at any level is messy. I don't believe that anybody lives life without mess. And so being able to embrace that and our uniqueness, no better gifts than ever. And it's a practice. It really is a practice.
Well, you've given me some great ideas for our discussion when we're finished already. All right, so now we're going to begin the time when each of you is going to get 10 minutes to teach on your own, and I'm going to use a timer. And so I'll hold up a 1 minute sign when you've gone 9 minutes, so we can kind of keep on track time-wise. And so we're going to go from left to right just to keep me on track. And so we're going to start with you, Dena.
Okay, I'm ready. Thanks, Natalie. I think I wanted to start, the thing that was coming to me to start my kind of teachy time with was dispelling a couple of myths about meditation. When I started meditating, I was in the rock bottom points of my life, and I thought meditation was kind of ridiculous. You know, how is this going to help me with these horrible addictive cravings or these suicidal thoughts and this incredible self-hatred? Like, how is meditation going to help with any of this? But what happened for me, and the way that I created 3x3 meditation, which is 3 minutes 3 times a day, is simply because I couldn't sit still for longer than 3 minutes at a time. So I would do 3 minutes several times a day in order to make, you know, the woman I was working with, who was helping me find my healing, to make her quota. So that's how this whole 3x3 meditation system was born. And so in developing that and in realizing that I don't necessarily have to sit for 20 minutes of meditation or even 10 minutes, that 3 minutes, when I tap into that inner space of knowing, that inner space of peace, I call it like that inner source of power, peace, and wisdom. When I can touch into that space several times during the day, for me personally, and for the people that resonate with my method, it's actually more effective than if I did it once in the morning for a longer time, because by the time 2 or 3 in the afternoon hits, it's kind of like, what, meditation? What? You know, it just feels like it was so far away. So for me, it's been more effective to do it in these little short, intense bursts. Rather than for a longer time period. And with that said, of course, I obviously, really respect any method that works for anybody else. This is just what worked for me when I was at my rock bottom point and continues to work for me today. So the couple myths that I wanted to talk about were, I think that a lot of people feel that it takes too long to meditate. I don't have 20 minutes. I'll meditate, maybe I'll start a practice when the kids go off to college, or maybe I'll start a practice when I don't have my day job anymore. Maybe I'll start a practice when, we delay starting it because we think we couldn't possibly fit a meditation practice into our schedule. And then on the flip side, I've also gotten a lot of people saying, how can 3 minutes do anything at all? How can that possibly be effective in being able to rewire, our thought patterns, our thought systems, and what we want to create for our lives? So that's one myth that I want to talk about. And the other one is that meditation is a nice extra in my life, but that I don't believe that it can give me practical results. It's kind of, that would be nice if I meditated. It would also be nice to go to vacation on the beach, but I don't really need it, and I can't really see how that would give me a practical result. What I learned, probably because I used it for the transformation for my rock bottom point, is that in meditation, I am, instead of trying to manipulate and manage and fix and change all of these people outside of myself, all of these exterior circumstances. That's what I did my whole life, trying to, I was changing jobs every 9 months. I kept upgrading my boyfriends and moving to new cities, thinking that'll be the answer. That's what I need to fix myself. And when I finally realized that it's an inner job and that the exterior world, it's just a mirror of what's going on inside of me. So it really is a very practical way to be able to manage my life. That's how I build my business. That's how I wrote my book. That's how I decide any practical, I'm using the word practical, financial decision, anything that seems like, oh, that's not spiritual. That wouldn't have a spiritual basis to it. If I'm trying to decide where to go to dinner, or if I'm trying to decide where to invest my money, why would I use meditation for that? But I believe that that inner voice of power, peace, and wisdom has guidance for us in every single aspect of our lives. And all of the physical world is part of the spiritual world because it's a mirror of what's going on inside of us. So it is intensely practical, and it can be effective even if you use just short bursts several times a day. I learned from Dr. Bruce Lipton, who's a pretty well-regarded cell biologist. I interviewed him when I did my book because I felt like when I'm saying I went from hell to happy in 9 minutes a day, it sounds a little bit like 4-minute abs. It has a little bit of a, that can't be possible, what is she trying to sell me feel to it. So I wanted to interview somebody whose science I respected, who could talk about how exactly this is happening. And when I asked him, how can this 3-minute here, 3-minute there thing possibly be effective, he said that it sounded to him like one of the most practical things you could possibly do, because our subconscious tape, our subconscious mind is constantly chattering. We have tens of thousands of thoughts every single day, and 90% of them, as you may know from your experience, are largely repeating what we were thinking yesterday, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. It's like, so when we have the power to constantly and consistently interrupt those old patterns, those limiting thoughts, those limiting beliefs, and create space in between them, we're literally rewiring our neural pathways. And that can be what changes the way that we think, because when we start changing the way that we think, that's when things start to pop. That's when we start having inspired ideas and being able to create change, out in the world. And it's really practical in the business sense too, because I know that if any of you are, probably the people that are listening to this, are spiritually based entrepreneurs or spiritually based in the business that they're doing, or at least bring some sort of belief of spirituality into their work. And so you'll probably resonate when I say that if I'm having a scarcity mindset, or if I get out of the why, like my passion of why I'm doing this, and I get too caught up into how am I going to pay this bill, or where is the next money coming from, and I get into a fear mindset or a scarcity mindset, I actually unintentionally am blocking that abundance from coming to me. I don't even know that I'm doing it, but it's really about the mindset that I hold, because the exterior world reflects how I'm feeling. So the more centered and connected I can stay with my passion, the better results I get in my business. So it really is practical. And I wanted to share with you, before my 10 minutes run out, Natalie, would you like me to run through, because I can guide us through a little 3-minute meditation if people want to experience that.
Sure, go ahead. We've got just about 3 minutes left.
Okay, great, because I want you to just experience the power of it. So anybody that wants to participate or listen, be part of the meditation, I always like to kind of shift my position and get my body in a comfortable way. You can be laying down, sitting up, however feels comfortable for you. I've coached people who, in a business environment, go to a room and lay down on the floor. So whatever feels comfortable for you, and eyes open, eyes closed. Just want you to feel a little bit of what that space is I'm talking about that we tap into. So if you're drawn to close your eyes, you can go ahead and do that right now. I like to meditate usually with my eyes closed. And just bring your focus gently on your breathing. There's nothing else you need to do. There's nowhere else you need to be for this couple of minutes. But just gently focused on your breath right now. There's no need to speed it up or slow it down, but just bring a gentle awareness to your breath. And as you're breathing, I invite you to consider, what is a feeling around your business that you would most like to be feeling right now? If you're feeling stressed and overwhelmed, maybe you'd like to feel in trust and in flow. Or if you're feeling a scarcity mindset financially, maybe you'd like a feeling of abundance. So whatever that feeling is for you right now, just kind of tap into that. And with your breath, as you breathe in, imagine, visualize that you are breathing in that essence of what you most want to be feeling about your business. So just do a few breaths with me right now. Just breathing in, feeling that essence of trust or of abundance flowing into your body with the breath and just infiltrating and saturating every cell of your body. And just take a couple breaths just like that. Just breathing in, feeling that essence, that energy, calmly and evenly balancing and infiltrating every cell of your body. Just like that, just breathing in and having a knowing that that essence is anchoring itself into every cell of your body and every dimension of your being. And just sit for a moment and anchor in that feeling. What does it feel like to click into that essence? Just kind of make a little bit of almost a muscle memory of it. What does that feel like in your being? And then when you feel like that's anchored, and you feel like that's complete, you can go ahead and release your attention there, release your breath, and bring your attention back into the room. And so that's what I do. You can use these little bursts of meditation for anything. It can be for just general stress release and relaxation. It can be for rewiring your relationship with food. It can be visualizing your ideal body, relationships, business, anything. But using these, you can tell it's working after you come out of it. If it takes you a second to kind of come back into the room and remember what you were so frenetic about before you sat down to meditate, it really does do a positive service to you to interrupt that busyness and the old limiting thoughts that are running us all day long. So thank you. I hope that was helpful. I'm so passionate about sharing it. So thank you, Natalie.
That was fantastic, Dena. Thank you so much.
Good.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I can't wait to get the conversation going after we've all shared. So Joe, you're on. Can't wait to hear what you're going to teach us.
I loved that meditation. Can I just say, Dena, I've been putting off, I lived in Thailand for 3 years. I've got no excuse. I should absolutely be meditating every day. But, that was just love. I feel great after doing that. I feel really nice. So, very good. Yeah, Natalie, I had to think about this, and I think I'm probably going to surprise you with what I talk about, because I normally talk about technical stuff. That's me really. I can't kind of go into the technical background of how to do certain things in order to achieve certain results. But it's quite difficult to discuss technical things on a Hangout without a screen in front of me, kind of showing people around the screen and what to do and where to go. So what I actually decided to share in this particular interview today was an exercise that I did at the beginning of January, which completely revolutionized not just my business really, but my life decisions. And it is something that people may have done before, but whether they've done it in such a detailed way, and whether they've done the second part, which is the absolute key to its success. So I hate to use the word goal setting, because I know that, you know, there's a kind of a whole cliche around goal setting, but it's more about totally putting yourself in the place you want to be, okay, and completely and utterly immersing yourself and imagining you are the person that you want to be. So what I did is at the very end of December, beginning of January this year, I went out for a whole day and I sat down and I basically imagined that it was the 31st of December 2015. And I started to write a diary entry as if it was that day. Not this is my goal for the 31st of December, but I literally sat down and said, today is the 31st of December 2015, and the diary entry started, and what a year it's been. And I went on to write all of the things that I had achieved that year, all of the different things that had made a difference to my life, and I kind of did it in three parts. So I started off with this kind of statement, you know, it's the 31st of December, and you know, what a year it's been, and just a kind of the main takeaways of the year, if you like. I then sat down and said, what were the key things that I changed or achieved or did this year that have made such a difference to my life, okay? And I went through and sort of detailed those out, and that might have been things like, you know, I was sat there and I would say, you know, I live now, I'm living in this amazing house right on the ocean, and I'm sitting here writing this as I'm sat on my deck with the steps down onto the sand, and I'm looking out onto the ocean, and it's absolutely fabulous, and I've got, you know, my family and friends are in my house, I've got a big barbecue on the deck, and we're all barbecuing, the sun's shining, you know, and I work from here, I've got my offices here, and all my team come round, and we've got a great team, and we do all this great team building, and I basically kind of went through all the different things, and all the different things that I'd achieved through the year. And then I wrote down what were the things that I did through the year to create those achievements. Yeah, so in other words, what did I change about myself? What person did I become in order to achieve the different things that I'd achieved through the year? And so that was things like my confidence, you know, my how I'd touched my. We've all sort of talked about, you know, our inner selves, and really kind of understanding our own authenticity and all that kind of stuff. And so the different. Basically who I had become. For me, energy and eating the right food and exercise is an issue, because for the last 4 years while we've been traveling, I've essentially spent lots of my time on my backside in front of my computer, and after a while that really affects your energy levels. You know, you start to get very tired if you're not out there doing a bit of exercise and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, a lot of what I was writing about myself was all about this energetic person that I'd become, how I'd begun to really treat my body like a temple, and how I'd only put in it all the good stuff that gave me the energy to go out and be incredibly productive and do all this kind of stuff. And I also talked about how, you know, I'd kind of changed my vision of my business from how can I go out and generate more income to, I mean, I did this a few years ago, but I wanted to really solidify it this year. How could I change my business from just wanting to get more income to how many people can I actually touch? How many people have I touched? How many people have I reached? How many people have I given value to? All of that kind of stuff. So anyway, I wrote it out. It's actually in my Evernote, right? And so basically it was this big statement of the kind of takeaways of the year, followed by what are the key achievements, yeah, what have I done through the year, and that ranged from my business to my health to my family to my relationships to my financial status, you know, to my emotional status, to my spiritual status, everything. You know, what are all the different things I've achieved in my life in all the different areas of my life? Who have I become over the last year to achieve those things? You know, what are the key distinctions through this year, the key changes that I've made to become that person and achieve these different goals? And then kind of what's my vision moving forward? So that's the exercise, which was an amazing, I mean, powerful beyond belief, to sit there and write it as if I've already done it, as if I'm already in that situation, right? And my goal was to then move forward and be able to make decisions based on where I want to be at the end of the year as opposed to where I am now. So to actually, all the different daily decisions I make come from this person that I've become as opposed to the person that started the year, okay? But here's the real key with all of this. This is what makes it all work. People always set resolutions. People always set goals. You know, even the whole kind of, you know, a dream without a deadline, or a goal without a deadline is just a dream, all of that kind of stuff. So people kind of goal plan and they write things down and they set their deadlines and they do all of that, and then they carry on with their daily life. What has literally transformed my business and my life this year has been the review part. It's the part where each week or each month, right, and I'm quite intense about mine, so I tend to do a mini review every Friday, and then I do a real big month-long review at the end of the month. You go back and you read what you wrote and you write down, am I moving closer to those goals? Am I moving in that direction? Am I becoming that person? Am I making those decisions? Am I doing the different things that I need to do? Am I becoming the kind of person that I need to be in order to achieve these goals? And do you know what? It's that. This is my key takeaway with this whole kind of thing here, is it's that moment of review that is going to make you take the action. And that's the biggest part when people set their goals that they miss, and therefore they don't achieve their goals. It's that actually sitting down rigidly every week or month and reviewing what you said you were going to do, who you said you were going to be, and deciding, am I doing that? Because there's nothing like actually constantly reviewing for you to realize perhaps where you're getting caught up in life, or where the normal things are happening. You know, year after year you say you're going to lose this weight, or year after year you say you're going to make this money, or year after year you're going to do, and it's that holding yourself accountable each week or month to look back at those goals and say, right, am I doing what I said I was going to do? And by doing that review part, I have really held myself accountable to what I said I wanted to do. I'm so much closer now. Where are we? We're at the end of the first quarter of the year. We're nearly into the end of April now. I am so much closer to so many of my goals, if you like, my vision, I'd rather call it than my goals, my vision of where I want to be at the end of this year. And I'm so much closer to that, just simply because of that constant exercise of reviewing and really, you know, holding myself accountable for what I want to do and where I want to be. So it doesn't matter that it's not the beginning of the year. It doesn't matter. And also the other thing I want to say as well is when people are goal setting, that, you know, I know that kind of a lot of the gurus said that you should be goal setting 20 years in advance, 10 years in advance. You know, the further into your future that you can visualize, the more successful in life you're going to be. And quite frankly, it's always kind of held me back. So I urge you, if that's something that holds you back a little bit, just take a day out. Tomorrow, next week, whenever, as soon as possible, even now if you can, take a day out, go and do that exercise. Ask yourself, a year from now, this time next year, on this day in 2016, I'm going to be sitting where? I'm going to be doing what? I'm going to be working with who? I'm going to look like what? I'm going to be energetic. I'm going to, you know, just visualize and imagine every single thing that you want for you and your family and your friends and the people around you. Write it all down. Write down the kind of person that you need to become in order to achieve that, and then put it in your diary that every Friday or at the end of every month you are going to read through that and review it and you know, hold yourself to task about the kind of person you need to become and the different actions you need to take that following month in order to get closer to your goals. And you'll find it so powerful, incredibly powerful.
Awesome. I just created a whole year-long course with you, just listening to you. Oh, fabulous. Thank you so much, Joe. This is so fun. Okay, Raquel Spencer, can't wait to hear what you've got for us.
Well, it's so lovely, listening to those that have gone before me here, talking about what they use to bring forth what they're looking for in their life. And my slant on this is going to be a little different. I hope it's some information that can be applied and is practical to you, although I'm very much in the energetic of the world and how I proceed in my life. So hopefully these tips and this information will spawn some thought for you and put you into a different perspective of how to really engage and move energy and co-create in a whole new way. And so I love what both ladies have said before, especially the story about going out in the future and really creating, who you want to be in a year from now. So let's build on both of those. The meditation, which I'm all about, you have to be connected. For me, to be successful, you have to be connected to your own higher self, your own omnipresent self. And I think that's absolutely key. It's like breathing, okay? You need to be able to be connected to yourself. But here's a couple of techniques that a lot of people may not think about doing, which I find really helpful in co-creating all the things that you've put into motion, all your goals and all your desires. So when I work on a daily basis, and I do this I do this every single day, I work with the energetics of my business. Okay, so first and foremost, I think about how I'm going to be seen in the world. And I do an exercise every morning where I go into a deep state of connection, okay, if you want to call it meditation. I don't necessarily, a lot of times I do this in the shower. We're all busy. I do a lot of things in ways that, aren't the natural or most common known meditation ways. But I will go into a space in my heart, and I will set the intention to, I do so much of this, so I'm trying to think of a way to really make it practical here. How to pulse the energy out into the universal grids, into the grids around the planet, into the energy around the planet, so that my frequency can be found by those I can serve at the highest level. My intention is always to be in the highest potential in service to those who I can bring value to. And so I sit in my heart and I pulse out a vibration from the center of my heart and I move it out into the universe with the intention of allowing those people who are searching for me, that don't know they are yet, okay? They don't know what they're really looking for, but it's like an energetic crumb. It's like an energetic signature wave that I send out, so that those people who will benefit from my work, for what I have to offer, will be able to find me energetically, okay? And so I go in, and I'll walk you through this for just a moment. You go into your heart, and you set the potential for your highest potential to be in service to the world in whichever way that is for you. And you pulse that energy through your heart out into the energetic grids. And you set the intention that by doing so, you're allowing your light to be seen. You're allowing your frequency to be seen by the higher selves of everyone that is appropriate to work with you. Okay? And I do that daily. And I call in the higher selves of everyone known and unknown that will help me reach my highest potential, whatever that desire is. If I have a new project, if I have a new book that I'm wanting to put together, a new program I'm trying to put together, the right people to help me with my website or this, that, or the other, I send that pulse out, and as a tap on the shoulder of the higher selves of everyone known and unknown that will help bring about a win-win potential for all of us. Then I bring it down a little bit more practical into the real reality. I go in every day and I infuse my website with light and energy. consciously, every day. I infuse all the materials that I have out in the world energetically, so that that frequency and wisdom that is held within it can be seen, found, and absorbed by those that I work with. Okay? I send white light out in front of me every single day into every single person, place, and thing that I come into contact with, that it will be in resonance with me, that I can be in divine flow. I do things like when I have a contract or have something really important, a meeting or some kind of thing that needs to be signed or taken care of by someone else, I send white light through every single person that's ever going to touch that, so that they can be in alignment in the highest potential win-win for all of us. So what I'm essentially doing is working on the energetics to bring a smooth solution, a smooth experience for everyone involved. And when I started to do this, I started to see a real difference in my business, because people were resonating with my work. They were resonating with who I was. I wasn't coming up against a lot of obstacles anymore, because I was already doing the energetic work on the higher realms to bring a smooth solution. Okay? So when you call in, for example, if you have a project that you want to work on, but you really don't know you don't know who's going to really be key in that project or key in that development. So you send the energetic out for the person that is in alignment with the highest potential in a win-win. And then you pay attention. When you get an email or you get a phone call from someone else, you start to pay attention to the streams of energy that come in to help build that result. And so this may be a little different than how a lot of people think about it. It's kind of the next step. It's the next step of really learning to co-create in a way that is in alignment with your highest potential. It's in alignment with a win-win for everyone involved, and it allows the energy of cohesion, the energy of cooperation and unity to really magnify in your business, okay? Because we're all looking to serve. I mean, all of us, we're in business because we have something we're really passionate about, and we want to serve others. And so just taking that, I absolutely agree with what, I'm missing the names, I apologize, Joe and I'm so
Dena.
sorry, Dena, there we go. Built upon, because those are real foundational things that need to happen. This is just kind of taking it a layer more in the co-creative process and really directing your energy to be in service. And so I do that kind of thing every day. And when I am sending out a really important email, or I'm trying to make connection with, somebody I need to do a co-creation with, I always infuse all of my emails, everything, with that intention of, if it's in alignment, highest potential, win-win for both of us, so that it can be smooth. And it's funny how people respond to that, because they'll feel it. They may not be able to acknowledge it. They may not be able to understand why that felt good, and yeah, that really looks like a great plan, and they will make steps to be in cohesion with that, as long as you put it as a highest potential win-win for all. And it actually helps to weed out a lot of obstacles, because you're consciously working at it at a very different level. And so that's one of the things that I just wanted to bring to people's awareness, bring to their attention, that perhaps they hadn't thought about doing. I mean, I talk to a lot of my clients, and it's like, you're trying to do a business. Have you infused your website with light yet? Have you really put your essence energetically so that it can move throughout the World Wide Web to find those people, those clients that most resonate and can be served by you? So that's just kind of maybe another little take on how to co-create at a different level successfully for your business, building upon what else has been said here.
I love it. It's magnificent. I already am going to start doing it immediately. So thank you.
It makes a huge difference, and you'll notice how quickly things shift and change.
Yeah. And so just a short follow-up question. Even if we don't perceive energy and light the way you do, that doesn't stop us from intending and doing this.
Not at all. You are energy. Everything is energy, and we know that. So your intention and your focus of actually intending and visualizing, if that's all you can do, the intention and the visualization, just see it going through the World Wide Web, see the energy moving out with the heartfelt win-win energy, and that's key. That's always the key.
We already have an indication of how powerful this is just by what Joe presented to us, right? Yeah. Okay, thank you. This is great. Your microphone is doing a little bit of rubbing on your shirt, Raquel.
Here we go.
Okay, we're ready for you, Val Bullerman. Can't wait to hear what you're going to teach us.
Yay! Super excited to share with you a concept that that we may know here, but we need to embrace here. And that's the idea that you are so unique that you have no competition. That's how I operate my business. That's what I teach my clients. And what I find is so many people, it goes back to that comparison, right? We're comparing to each other. How do we stack up? And it is one of the things that I had to get over in the beginning, was comparing myself to others. When I first became a coach, one of the people that I used to hang around with was another coach, and he was 8 years. He'd been doing coaching for 8 years, and so I would think, oh, he knows it all, kind of thing, and I was the newbie or the baby coach. I actually used those words, which today is fascinating to me, and it gave me lots of excuses to not do the things that I was scared of. It allowed me to play small. And it doesn't matter what label you use. We all have labels that we use, right? We all have those things that we allow to keep us to play, that allow us to play small, those excuses. We may call them reasons, right? Because I've called them reasons. I don't have excuses. I have reasons. But still, they're not the truth. They're just fear showing up for us. And so when we think about ourselves and who we are in our business and how to market it, how to put it out in the world, a lot of us take trainings from a lot of different people, and when we take those trainings, we graduate, and then we think, okay, now I've learned this great information. How do I go out and sell it or market it to other people when everybody does the same thing that I do? Everybody learned the same thing in those classes. Well, the interesting part is, yes, you may have walked through the material together, but each person will go out and share it with the world in their own unique way. And so I'm gonna walk our listeners through a little bit of an exercise here that I would love for them just to, you can think about it or you can write it down. Either one is fine, but I really would like for you just to take a moment and think about the ways that you might be different in your business. So whether you're a coach or a healer, it doesn't matter. Whatever it is, we consider that kind of like one area. But really what we are is we're a huge conglomeration of everything that's happened in our life, in our world. So I love to have my clients make some lists. So anybody who has pen and paper, grab that, write some things down. If not, just think about them, right? First thing is to list all the different trainings that you've ever taken in your world. So I would like them to look at personal, professional, and you know what? If it's a dance class, write it down because you're evidently musical. You got some rhythm, right? Whatever it is, any type of training that you've ever taken. What did you go to college for, right? What did you love in school? What were your favorite courses? Now we're going to take a little different turn. Places that you've been. Where have you been? And even, even if it's just like I'm from Iowa, right? I've been all over the world, but in the beginning I was just from Iowa. What did I love about that? I love the greenness. I love the grass. I love, the cold winter snow when it, like up to here kind of thing, and the spring when it melts and goes away. I love the spec, all of that. change. Change is really important to me. So list the places that you've been in the world and what do you love about them? Could be your backyard. What are your hobbies? What is it that you love to do? That if we gave you a full day and you could do nothing but that, what would it be? It would be reading for me. It's one of my favorite things to do. Some people it's walking. Some people it could be anything, right? Knitting, whatever that is. What are your hobbies? What did you love to do as a child? So this might take a little thought, right? You may have to step away and think about this a little bit. What did you love to do as a child? I remember sitting on the back steps. I must have been like first grade, kindergarten, somewhere around in there, playing Barbies, right? But I didn't just love to play Barbies. I loved to be the mom to all the other Barbies. My Barbie was always mom, right? So there's a nurturing aspect that came out from that. Did you love to skip rope? What did you love to do as a child? Write all of those things down. What type of music do you like to listen to or have you liked to listen to? I know mine has evolved as time has gone on, it's changed. What kind of music do you like to listen to? And then what do you consider your greatest talent? Or talents, right? If you feel like you have more than one talent, what would that be? So now that we've got a little bit of idea of who you are in this world, you're discovering anybody who's taken the same training as you has not had those same experiences as you. Probably very different, a lot different. I'm going to share how this worked for me. I did this exercise after I'd become a business coach. When I first started coaching, I was a life coach. After I transitioned from life coaching to business coaching, I kind of like shut the door to it, right? Like put on little blinders, and I didn't really look at my life coaching side of things. I just thought of myself as a business coach. And frankly, I didn't value that part of my journey as much as I do today. And what I realized after going through these type of questions was that in life coaching, I was trained very deeply in how to deal with people and their fear, how fear affects you, how it holds you back. And then I realized that people have a lot of fear in their business. Oh my gosh, right? Lots of it. Think about it. It keeps them from getting the clients they want, raising their prices, talking to people, going out and networking, putting themselves out there really big and clear, being vulnerable, all of those sort of things. And then, for me, realizing all of that, the Fearless Business Coach was born. It kind of lives in my head, right? But that's okay. And so really embracing the idea of how to help people in their business stop listening to that fear, stop allowing fear to hold you back. It's really a great way to distinguish myself from other business coaches. So it was now I've discovered this unique place for me in the world that I am not like other business coaches. In fact, I can guarantee there are no other business coaches exactly like me. Just like everybody who's watching this, there's no one who does what you do exactly like you do. So I want you to realize that you are so much more than what you've been trained in. You've come into this business as a whole person. We cannot leave parts of us on the outside the door, outside our business. So really, people really want all of you. They just don't want those good parts that you want them to see. The more real, the more vulnerable you can be, the more people will be drawn to you. It's amazing how much that changes when you allow your inner self to be seen. I think about it like the light to be shined. The Marianne Williamson, shine your light. And that's, for me, it's be your total unique self. And it will be not only such an example to other people to be their total unique self, but it's also a willingness to show up in the world like no one else can. No one else can do exactly what you do. So I would like to encourage people when they think about that, and when they go into that little place of, there's so many people that do what I do. There's no place for me in this market. Go back and figure out, how unique are you? What do you have to bring to the table that no one else in the world can do? No one is put together exactly like you. You are completely unique. And so what I like to do when people go into that comparison, remember we talked about comparison in the beginning, is when people go into that comparison mode, my challenge for you is to create a collaboration. So comparison, collaboration, and bringing them together, right? So we collaborate with others who do what you do. I collaborate with tons of coaches. Now, when I get together in a peer group, I don't ask them to coach me. I don't, not looking for them to solve my business problems. It's for us to share what's going on, what's happening, what works, what doesn't, and really create those true collaborations of mind, but also of spirit. Because the more that you do that, all of a sudden, that comparison just falls away. You don't even notice that, oh yeah, they do the same thing as I do. No, you see them as a complete unique individual because what they bring to the table is completely different than you, even if they carry the same, quote, title, right? So making sure that we look at ourselves in that way. I was in San Francisco not too long ago and was able to be amongst a group of 6- and 7-figure people, earners or business people. And one of the guys stood up in front and he described how he did a 7-figure launch. Like he did a launch and it equaled 7 figures. So I'm in my chair going, whoa, that's really a lot, kind of thing. Thinking my 6 figures was pretty good, and then all of a sudden had to break that, right? Break that thought, break that fear, and see what he brings to the table is completely unique from me. And afterwards, I went up and had a great conversation with him, asked him some little distinguishing facts about what he did differently, what allowed him to step into the market so big and so broad. And really interestingly, he said it's because I'm completely unique. Completely unique. And so I would love if all of you decided to carry that, if you had to wear a sign on your shoulder, I would love for it to say, I am completely unique. Put it on your mirror, put it on your refrigerator, put it all over, because I really want you to recognize you have no competition anymore. As of today, competition stops. We're going to move into collaboration. Yay.
That's fantastic, Val. That's fantastic. So, Jo has her hand up. Yes, Jo, what would you like to contribute?
Can I just say, from the minute this hangout started, Val has been just giving off the most incredibly warm and lovely vibes. Val, you just completely hooked me. I think you're awesome. I think you really are. And I just wanted to add, I was desperate to say this in the little section where you were talking about getting over, and then you've just mentioned it again in that section there about being really vulnerable and people seeing all of you. Mm-hmm. And many years ago when I was in college, I studied film studies and as one of my A-levels here in the UK. And one of the things they talked about in film is that the screenwriters and the directors, one of their most important jobs in creating films was to make sure that the audience completely identified with the flaws of the characters. It wasn't all about the hero. They had to empathize and completely have this amazing connection because of the characters' flaws, and their flaws were actually so much more important than all their heroic whatevers, because it's the flaws that created the connection. And it's so funny because very recently I was on Facebook, of course, and there was a lady who's very, very big in the Facebook world. She's absolutely huge, and she'd written a post on her wall that she'd had a bad morning, something had happened, and she said, do you know what, I got up this morning feeling like it was going to be a bad day, and I thought I ought to just pack it up. And do you know what I thought? Do you know what my first thing for? Oh, thank God she has bad days too.
Right?
You know what I mean? For the minute, people want to know that you are just human and that you get stuff wrong and that you have insecurities, and that because it kind of makes them go, oh, thank goodness, this person isn't a superhuman,
right?
So let's go with this. I think this is a great topic for our first post question. So if everybody wants to unmute yourself, you can just pop in whenever. And so here's the question. What is something that you may currently or may have been feeling in the past is a flaw that you think could actually be one of your unique qualities that could actually help you connect to other people and actually grow your business? And you're muted, Dena, just so you know. And so I'll just step up. The first one that I'm always trying to hide is my age. And I think that's ridiculous because there are so many people who are my age, who are boomers, who are, it's like they're not ready to retire, they don't want to retire, or they don't have the money to retire. And so I think it's actually an asset, and I need to quit trying to be embarrassed or ashamed of it.
Right. Love it, right? Yeah, well, and I'll just, this feels interesting. I don't think I've shared this out before, so this is going to be hot news, right? One of the things that I've struggled with for all of my life is part of my my family, right? Is their struggles, their journey is what I call it, right? And their journey is much different than mine. It doesn't make it good or bad. I've realized it's just their journey. And how much I have in the past tied my story to that. But the interesting part is being the fixer and saver of this group of people, right? And stop doing that. So every time I take a big energetic movement forward, guess what happens? Some drama happens somewhere, right? And I get the call. You need to, right? And so for people to recognize, just because we get more aligned, we become more of ourselves, it doesn't mean that crap stops happening, right? It keeps going. The great part is I've learned how to deal with it. I've learned how to say no. I've created beautiful boundaries because of this. And so all of you, we all know, right, that stuff happens out there, and it's always been part of my journey. I just never embraced it. I've always fought against it, right? And so now so when I get the call, it's like, oh, I must be making big movement somewhere, because here comes the call, right?
That's right, Val.
I can go. I have something to share. I think mine was shame about what I had gone through. When I first went into addiction recovery, I didn't tell a soul. I didn't tell any of my friends. I didn't tell any of my family. I was so ashamed that I had to do that I had to get help for something it just seemed so weak to me to have to do that. And it took me 6 months before I told anyone in my life. But what happened was I was getting so grounded and centered and accessing a level of peace and happiness, such depth inside of myself, that it outweighed the shame that I felt. And I still had to do a lot of work to get by that. But that's why I say, just a few years ago, if you would have said I would have been sharing this with more than 5 people on this planet, I didn't want that. It was just so much shame. And when I share it now, people can understand. People will come up to me after I speak or whatever and say, share with me confidentially what they had gone through or some sort of pain that they experienced or something that was similar. And it's like, my God, thank God I'm sharing this, because that's what people are relating to. That's what's, making the message come alive in people. It's sharing that flaw, that thing that I thought I was a bad person. So I totally get that whole, it's so important to share that humanness, because that's what underlies the human connection.
Thank you, Joe, for giving us this topic. You might not want to share one, but you started it.
I did start it, yeah. Oh, my goodness. I could list about 150 flaws, to be honest with you. But I think probably the one that's held me back, and I'll be honest with you, probably is still holding me back a little bit now, actually, that I still kind of need to conquer, actually is my weight. It's always been my weight. I've over the last sort of few years, mainly since I started this business, where I've been sort of sat down behind the computer as opposed to out exercise, and I've just let it go. And it's sort of, you know, exploded over the last few years. And actually, whereas I used to put myself in front of the camera with, you know, so many of my videos, I've actually found over the last couple of years I'm doing less on video and more on, you know, on cam, or I'll do it where, you know, I won't record myself out on a video full body ever. Do you know what I mean? I have so many ideas for creative videos because I love talking and I love videos and I love teaching and all that kind of stuff. And I have so many ideas for creative videos, especially with all my traveling. If you think about all the places I've traveled over the years and all the times I've wanted to do a Michael Palin style documentary on where I am in Thailand or whatever, and I just won't do it. I won't do it because I won't put my whole body in front of the camera, and I'll only do shots that are there, you know, upwards, you know, so I'm kind of fooling everybody. And I think it's crazy because actually most of the people, I suppose I kind of have this ridiculous, and I'm sure so many women will, and I say women, but I really do feel it's a female thing, so many women will empathise with this, but I just kind of have this ridiculous thought process which has been brought on by media and celebrity status and all the rest of it, that in order to catapult yourself to success, you know, you have to look like blimmin' Elle Macpherson. Do you know what I mean? Men can get away with it. They can be as, you know, as ugly as sin and still be hugely successful. But women have to look amazing, you know? It probably didn't help.
Val and I know a woman who brands herself. You don't have to be a size 6 to make 6 figures. And so she actually, her size is a part of her brand.
Right. Right.
Which is amazing. Yeah, it's fantastic. You know, it's amazing. I think, you know, it's one of those moments where you think I'm doing great and everything's working, but oh my God, where I could be if I could just actually get rid of that. You know, if I could actually just get beyond that.
I feel touched by everyone's vulnerability here.
I know. I've never said that in public before. I've never actually admitted that out loud. Don't send this out to too many people.
Right, there's only 14 viewers, so only 14 people have witnessed this. How about you, Raquel? Where are you on this one?
Well, hello, you're sitting here with a woman that had the balls to be seen in the world as a bald, big woman. My whole life shifted when I quit hiding and trying to fit in to everyone else. When I lost all of my hair after the coma, which was the beginning of my awakening and transformation, I hid underneath a wig for years and thought that was my flaw. And when I finally stepped into my own knowing enough and took the wig off is when my authentic self came out. And so, I mean, that was the thing that I hid the most and was most afraid of. And once I let myself be seen of who I really am, it was deep recognition for a lot of other people, but that vulnerability, this is who I am, this is what I look like, this is me in my glory, thank you very much, was really a huge turning point for me and in my business, because I was willing to be seen for who I really am and allow that vulnerability to be seen in the world as well. And now it's really funny because most people don't even comment on it anymore. You know, it's who I am. And you don't see a lot of bald women out there. You don't see a lot of people doing, and it's natural. You know, it's a natural thing for me. I'm not shaving my head for a statement here. This is how I am in the world. And so that was a huge vulnerability and worry about response. And yet it's what makes me unique, and people tend to remember me because of it. And so it turned into be a real advantage. And it lets me be me, which is stepping into the authenticity of who I am, which then goes everywhere else.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, it's really tying back in what some piece of what everybody has said. You know, Val was talking about the need to be unique, and we've talked about our flaws, and you know, Joe was saying how for actors you have to see their flaws in order for us to feel their humanity. It's amazing, and I can look at each of you and say, well, who would you be if we didn't know that painful thing about you? That's such a big part of what makes you who you are and what makes you lovable, what makes people want to work with you. Yeah, fabulous. Okay, so I got another question for you. Let's do one more. So I'm going to kind of combine a couple of these because there's just so much richness in what you said. So I'd love it if people could talk about like how do you tap into that inner peace, power, and wisdom that Dena talked about? And how is it that you can imagine using Raquel's infusing of light into your business or your life? If you could, you know, if we can just kind of combine those two, how can you imagine using that even more? How do you do it now? But how can you imagine using it more in your life and your business?
Shall I start?
Sure.
Okay, I love music. Music is my everything, you know. It's my absolute, whatever mood I'm in, you know. I've got a really eclectic taste as well. You know, I can listen to the Foo Fighters, and the next minute I can be listening to, you know, Chai Mai by Ennio Morricone. Do you know what I mean? I can sit and listen to classical just as easy as I can listen to heavy rock. I love songs. There are some bands, you know, that I love, but I tend to love songs more than I like bands, you know. And music just touches me. It just moves me in all sorts of ways. And so I can feel incredibly up and excited and energetic, and I can feel relaxed and calm, and I can feel productive if I'm listening to chill out music while I'm working, that kind of stuff. But what you're talking about is kind of infusing, you know, the world around you. And what Raquel was saying was by kind of, you know, throwing out this white light that she carries with her. And you can tell from Raquel's persona that she's a very kind of calm and sort of this kind of very nice, kind of rock solid, very in touch with herself, incredibly confident lady that's just got this lovely, calming kind of way. My way of infusing other people is I'm like this. I'm kind of frenetic. I'm like up and down, and you know, when I make videos, I'm, you know, getting all excited about my business, and I'm like this. And so my way of connecting with people and kind of infusing them, if you like, has always been that I get people that come back to me after hearing me or meeting me on videos and saying, oh my God, Joe, I just feel so inspired. I just feel so energetic. I just, you know, I just want to go out and do it. You make me feel I can do it. I know I can do it. So that's how I do it. And I tend to, if I'm about to get onto a high energy webinar or something, I will tend to put on some high energy music and boogie around my lounge, which my 8-year-old finds incredibly amusing, at me, you know, dancing around to Cool and the Gang in the lounge before I jump on a webinar. But it's just the way I, you know, that's me. So, and I hope that comes across to everybody. That some people might go, oh my God, you know, I'm absolutely knackered after listening to Joe. We should just, you know, bring it down a tempo. But a lot of the time, people, you know, I hope that what I'm giving out to people and infusing people with is energy, excitement, inspiration, and really helping them believe that they have what it takes to go out and do what they want to do and be who they want to be.
Thank you. Awesome.
I love that. I'm gonna take off a step from that. And music is huge to me too. Like I'm the same way. From Beatles to Elvis to just all and new stuff. I love songs. It's great. I think that's so cool. But one of the things for me, it kind of like thumped me on the head as we were talking here, was my way to do that is love. And it's really like that simple, right? If everything comes from here, if I come from here with my writing, with my coaching, with how I connect with people, it all gets very simple, right? Because I disconnect, right, from the expectations or things that I want. It's just when my intention is to love all the time, it and whether it be family or the guy in the grocery store who has 42 items in the 20-item aisle, or that kind of thing. If you just my famous words are, isn't that fascinating, right? And really look for the points to love, the ideas, the concepts that are hidden down underneath all of the stuff that goes on around us, just through love. And I love Raquel's, the white light infusion. Oh my gosh, I'm totally going to do that. Like, that is amazing, and I can't wait to practice it. So thank you very much.
Beautiful. Well, for me, when I think about really getting into that space, it's a continuous. So every single day, every morning, when I'm in the shower doing all that other stuff, I do a lot in the shower. I get a lot done in the shower, let me tell you. But one of the things that I do is I literally set the intention. I pull it in. I command, almost, if you will, as a co-creator of my reality. I pull in that continuous stream of being connected to my higher self. I set it in motion to bring it into the heart so that it flows out of my heart 24/7, 365. It's not a 3-minute here or a 3-minute there, although I do find myself, taking moments throughout the day to really ground into the heart. But I set the intention that that flow is not the extraordinary. That's my ordinary. That's my everyday experience, being 100% connected into that divine flow and in alignment with what I'm doing. So that if I do move and get out of alignment, I feel it. I know it because I'm setting that intention, that internal guidance system, that part of me that really stays focused and aligned with that higher self, higher aspect, omnipresent, that universal mind, whatever you want to call it. I hook that up every day, and I literally do it almost like a network hookup. I mean, I see it stream in through my crown down into my heart. This is me fully aligned. And one of the other things that I do, and I do this almost every time with all of the work that I do with people, really cute, quick, easy, simple, and can be done 1,000 times a day. And sometimes you have to do it 1,000 times a day because it's just one of those days. But I do a technique that I'm sure all of you have heard of and probably haven't thought of for a while. You take that conscious mind, that part of you that's thinking, okay, that part of you that's all analyzing and all worried and, oh my gosh, how am I going to get this done, and oh, what's happening, and you gather that conscious mind, which we know lives in the matrix, lives in our fields, but most of us feel it in our head. And so take that conscious mind and put it in a dang elevator on the 10th floor and push the button to the first floor, and you ride that conscious mind, that one that's making all of your decisions, that's worried about everything, that's distracted and all of that. You ride that, you put it in an elevator, close the door on the 10th floor, and you ride your conscious mind down into your heart. And you let those doors open on the first floor, and you start to think again, literally from this space in your body, the heart chakra. And so, a lot of times, oh shit, I gotta get in the elevator. Okay, whoops. Okay, wait, I'm stressed. What's going on? And I'll put myself, I'll close my eyes for, and this takes 30 seconds. It doesn't even take a half a minute. Just consciously grab where all my thoughts are. Where am I feeling it in my body? Put it in that elevator. Push that floor. Write it down, and okay, now I can think where I'm supposed to be thinking from my heart center instead of my ego or my personality. So that's how I do it.
I love that. Very cool.
I love it. You all have had such a positive influence on me. I mean, there's nothing better than choosing to interview a bunch of fabulous people that are doing things that you admire, because it's had such a benefit on my life, even before the summit actually goes live. So Dena, even though you created this 3x3 meditation, and you and your talk is part of the reason for this question, let's let you answer it too. Is there some way that you want to be more plugged in than you are? Get into that place of peace and wisdom more?
Yeah, because I use 3x3 for everything. It's what I do within it that changes. But I'm just so drinking in what everybody is saying. There's so much wisdom and even more than that, just kind of the love and passion I can feel radiating. The visual that I use, this is how I stay out of my own way, and I try to stay in a place of surrender. So I think I know what I want, but the universe dreams bigger. You know, kind of when I turn it over and just remember, I'm not driving the bus. Like, I'm on the 3x3 bus, but God is driving it. You know, like, universe is in charge here. Then I can stay out of my own way and be more into the bigger perspective. So the visual that I use is that we all come from a source, right? We all come from this positive source, and we emanate from that, almost like a core, and then these fingerlings coming off it, you know, the trunk of the tree and the branches. And so when I want to create something, or draw clients, or draw potential partners to something I want to create in my business, for example, or a relationship, you know, it could be anything, what I do is get into, because there's little me, this little body that's me, and then big me, you know, kind of the 90-95% of who I really am, that source energy essence. And so when I connect into and I surrender the physical, I really just try to let go of my preconceived ideas of what I think I want and get into that core. I know that the higher selves of everybody else are all in that core. So all I need to do is tap into there and let whatever rendezvous are going to happen, and then just relax and expect those rendezvous to take place in the real world. That's when inspiration of maybe I'll call this person, or a random email from somebody comes through, you know, that sort of thing. I also like to think of, I saw this quote somewhere, probably Facebook, but I couldn't tell you who said it and butcher it, but it's about a lighthouse, right? Like, a lighthouse doesn't walk around or doesn't move and try and seek out all the ships that it has to save. You know, like, the lighthouse is just standing there shining as brightly as it can, and the boats that are drawn to that light are naturally brought into that, almost kind of like a magnet, or it has an energy that they're drawn to, like a light. And I try to think of myself and my work as that, you know, there are so many meditation methods and methods to get to that inner source of power, peace, and wisdom. 3x3 is one of thousands or millions, you know, and it just happens to be what works for me. And it's not for everybody. I'm not trying, you know, I wouldn't dream that it would be. I wouldn't even want it to be. I want it to be for the people, you know, like, my thing is I want to be the lighthouse for those boats that are drawn to it, and I want to be just the brightest, most surrendered in my kind of highest self, like my almost my mission statement, that I am the physical embodiment of where my higher self is drawing me to. So that's what I kind of aim to be, and that's what I go to when that's my focus in my meditation. So 3x3 is kind of the vehicle that I use to get there, but that visual, like, I can really feel it viscerally when I'm tapped into my highest self, and I just know that that is, you know, the co-creative essence that's already intertwined with everybody else's highest selves. And so the other brilliant will be shown to me, or I will be inspired to contact them in the physical world.
That is beautiful. That is beautiful. And we could keep talking because this is lots of fun, but I know that everybody else has something to do. Jo has to bed to go to because she's in Great Britain, and I don't know what it is, 3 a.m. or something. Sorry, Jo. But
it's only 10:30.
I haven't seen her nodding off over there yet. So thank you so much. Dena and Jo, Raquel and Val, and everyone who is watching us now, and everyone who will be watching the replay. This has just been rich and delightful. My heart is full. Thank you so much, and I'll give you each a chance to say goodbye before I stop the broadcast.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye. Lovely to meet you.
Thank you so much, Natalie.
Bye.
Thank you.
Natalie.
Nice to meet all you ladies. Bye-bye.
And please come and join us when the summit starts officially on May the 1st at 9 a.m. Pacific. It's going to be phenomenal. You get these 4 wonderful women and, 10 more people. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Blessings, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.